Hi everyone, my name is Kunal Batra and I'm a senior technical evangelist here at AWS, and I'm joined by a pretty special guest right now who I'll let introduce himself.
Hey, I'm Mitchell Hashimoto. I'm one of the founders of HashiCorp.
Hey Mitchell, so can you tell me a little bit more about the cloud operating model at HashiCorp?
Yeah, so I'm a technologist. I love building software, but we wrote something called the cloud operating model, which is sort of an explanation of what are the concepts that are shifting in a non-cloud versus a cloud world. And so, we all are excited about what cloud means and things like that, but for a company that has, on-premise software coming from an existing way of thinking, what is changing? So, just like a brief, overview, it's sort of the idea that we sort of broke it down into four major things are changing. Whether you use our software or somebody else's, you're going to have to think about this. It's provisioning, security, connectivity, and runtime. And so from a provisioning standpoint, it's sort of just like, static, homogeneous servers. So this idea of infinite compute, available on demand, different sizes. Security is like having four walls and a perimeter to having totally software-driven security models and networks. Networking is moving from just like host to host, cattle versus pets sort of mentality, to this idea that you have multi-tenant applications running. The network is sort of everywhere and connected to the internet. And then finally, the runtime layer, moving from one VM, one machine to a bunch of containers co-scheduled together. And so, like I said, whether it's our software or others, these are the problems that we're trying to solve for companies, and this is how we explain why you should adopt, cloud-native software and why we think about things the way we do.
Awesome. Can we dive a little deeper in that networking layer and talk a little bit about console and how it operates in the cloud operating model?
Yeah, so Console is open source software that we have, works great on AWS, and it solves a few problems. One of them is just having a service registry of like what is the services you have deployed, because a lot of people don't. Before that, used to just be your VM list. Your VM list was also your application list because they were one-to-one mapped. But now that you have third-party services, you have your own applications, you have multiple containers on one host, it's like answering that question is harder. So step one is it solves that. When you have that, you can now use that to sort of dynamically update, security group rules or load balancers, or even just like configure things like how does the web service find the database? You could automate all this, and then as a sort of last stage step, you could do higher level things like what people would call service mesh, which is end-to-end TLS between all services, traffic shaping, things like that. So Console really helps you do this in a cloud-native way.
Awesome. And we have a little bit of time. Just really quickly, you and I were talking about this before this started, but tell me a little bit more about how you guys started HashiCorp and like what was that catalyst that made you really want to start?
Yeah, so my co-founder and I, Armand, got really lucky. We went to the University of Washington in Seattle, and obviously Amazon is there. So we were there right in 2007. AWS just came out less than a year before, like EC2 it just launched, and we got donated a bunch of compute, and we had a bunch of donated servers of different kinds, and me and Armand were tasked with the job of basically figuring out how to leverage all these things, and especially in 2007, nothing was there, right? Like AWS only had 3 or 4 services, and so we wrote down all these challenges we were having, and that ended up being the software we ended up creating.
Awesome. And then last, any resources that we should tell our Twitch audience if they want to find more about HashiCorp, where they can go to learn more?
Yeah, sure. So if you want to learn more about the cloud operating model, if you go to HashiCorp.com, we have a white paper there. It's a pretty fun read, so it's not super dry. You could also just Google cloud operating model, we pop up. And if you want to learn about our software, we have links to all our open source software right from HashiCorp.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.